Hey everybody, Rob Spaghetti here, and you may have caught the recent car review from David Patterson of this baby, my Corvette, and it was pretty close to accurate, but it was one of those things. He went to drive it years ago, probably 2 years ago, and the water pump went bad when he was here, so I felt bad. But we got that fixed within, I don't know, 6 or 8 months, whenever I got around to it, and he was just back up in New York to drive it. He had a good time, and he showed you essentially why I have this car and why it's so fun. I mean, it just makes him giggle. And from what I read in the comments, it's the first time he's ever cursed during a review. So I get it. But this car is a lot of fun. David got a couple of things wrong. I want to correct those. Namely, he called and this is just the commenters, no matter how much we know or how much we do, the commenters, we're never going to know more than everybody. So the commenters always keep us honest. David called the tail blow-off valve a wastegate. The wastegate is actually underneath the car, behind the engine. You'll see where the wastegate placement is. That is a blow-off valve in the hood. People commented on the beeping. Beep, beep, beep. That sucks. I know, I get it. It's nice to watch other people drive your car because it's cool to see, like, hey, just let me know your reaction. I'm curious to what you think. He doesn't know, like, the little things. Like on a Corvette, if you push the reset button, you can clear out the chimes and those warnings letting you know that the gauges aren't working. And what he was getting was the reduced engine power, which is what the computer's saying. Clearly it's not reduced. But the factory computer is spitting out a warning for whatever reason. And that's what the beeping is for. But if you push the reset button, it'll still have the warning lights, but it won't beep at you anymore. The other thing that happens is the gauges, they work, they don't work. And I took this over to the Cars and Coffee this morning with Jimbo, which was sort of a lot of fun. I met a bunch of cool people. Hello, people. And when we went over there, the gauges would sporadically jump back on. And the thing that people were saying, how do you know how fast you're going, David? Why you keep looking at the dash? The tach and speedo always work. It's the gauges that we lose are the fuel gauge, the coolant temperature, the oil pressure, and I think maybe the battery voltage. I don't know. They may all, the battery voltage may work, but the other three definitely go out. The oil pressure pegs to whatever, 1,000. The fuel gauge goes to 0, and the coolant temperature spikes to 260, which is max. But however, that's obviously not the case. When they did come on as we were driving, as we were getting on it, it was nice to see that the car temperatures were good, and I know that the car's got about a half a tank of fuel in it. So even though the gauges would sort of go in and out, it's not a problem. One glorious commenter said, why the hell wouldn't you fix that if you're gonna have somebody review your car? I was having David drive the car before we replaced everything in it, and the tail lights are also not working, but I've got all the stuff from AEM I showed you previously, going full boat AEM on this one. So we've got the entire wiring harness, we've got all the controllers, we've got the, this is probably my favorite thing, which is the dash, the data logger and dash. And this is very boss, this is gonna go in there. So we're getting rid of anything that's sort of in there now, and it was like, why bother fixing it? It does have wipers, the wipers will be on a switch. It does have blinkers, the blinkers will be on a switch. And it does have windows. The windows will also be on switches. Other than that, the whole car is going to be run by AEM. We've got their, this is the VDM, which is the Vehicle Dynamics, Vehicle Dynamics module. It keeps track of GPS location, speed, elevation, and you get these really cool feedback as to what's going on in the car. It's data logging it. So I can go back and be like, okay, we were at 60% throttle air. We could have taken this corner harder. I saw here, I thought I was at the limit, but I was only at 0.96 Gs. I can go deeper into that corner. I can go harder. I can carry more speed. It's just really good sort of race car shit to have, which is knowledge as to what your car is doing. If something doesn't feel right, you'll be able to sort of discover it much quicker with this. And it's like a cool full color display, shift lights, all sorts of cool stuff. This I was most excited about. Full wiring harness, so the whole wiring system, all the spaghetti's coming out, and we're putting this in. Oops, it's upside down. Boom. And this is the entire wiring harness for the car. And what's cool about that is I should save some weight. The factory wiring, I mean, not that we're really worried about saving weight, but the factory wiring does, there's a lot of vestigial wiring in here. It's stuff that just dead ends, stuff that's just not needed at all. So I'm excited to get that out. We'll have this thing at its true fighting weight. This is the last thing that I never got around to because I was running off the stock computer, but this is clearly a better way to go. Thank you, AEM, for, I reached out to them, but thank you guys for supplying this stuff. I'm excited. It's not going to change the dynamic of the October event because it's still going to be running 10 pounds of boost during the October event. When we get this wiring in, I'll dyno this car, we'll weigh this car, and we'll know exactly what we're bringing out to Vegas. We're not getting cute with it. After that, for the January event, where we're actually running a little bit harder, running with the, we'll get into that in another video, but when we're running harder and I'm trying to be competitive to win, I've got, I think, October in the bag as long as it doesn't break, but winning in January is going to be a little bit more difficult. I'm going to have to crank the horsepower up to probably somewhere 850 to 900, and that's going to require progressive boost by gear, and ultimately probably close to 18 or 20 pounds of boost in fourth and fifth gear. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. The last thing I want to mention is just stuff that David missed. People were like, what are the car specs? He didn't tell the car specs. And the 680 horsepower that they said the car was making at the wheels, that was just an estimate. Maybe 670, maybe 705. I don't know. That was just my seat of the pants. Like, this is what it feels like to me. And I know I'm running like the lowest boost level that I can possibly run in this thing at 10 pounds off the wastegate spring. It's running a 76 millimeter billet wheel precision turbo. It's got a built transmission. It's a Rodney built by Rodney. That was a thing. It was a Rodney trans. It's got a built 315 differential. So the gears are a lot longer than they are in a factory car with 342 gear ratios. People looking to build drag cars or cars that are shifting quicker, that's more of a drag racing thing, but you're going to put 373s in it. People even went 410s, or stick with the stock 342s. I went 315s. It's got taller gears. It extends the top speed because fifth gear is the top of the usable range here. And if fifth gear gears out at like 175, sixth is completely flat. It was cheaper to change the pumpkin in the back than it was to swap the fifth and sixth gear in the transmission, which I may still have to do going into January anyway, but we'll see how crazy I want to get. But I'm excited. So it's fully built motor, 347, maybe 348, 350. It's been bored out a little bit just from the previous engine. It's an LS3 block. It's got the LS6 intake on it. It's not a very crazy cam. I think it's the LS6 Z06 or the C5 Z06 cam, which is pretty good for forced induction. It wasn't a super lopey cam or super aggressive cam. Fuel system is the one thing I don't remember what's in it. I don't remember what size injectors. Like 65-pound injectors come to mind. But other than that, I think I hit on most of the stuff that David may have missed. We'll get to this car. Jeff is taking this while I go to Europe, and he's going to be replacing the spaghetti with the other spaghetti. I'll make sure he turns on the camera for that. But when I get back from Europe in a couple of weeks, you're going to see this car fully wired up, going down to Felix Medina for some proper tune, and we'll see what it puts down and give you the update from there. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you next time.